About a year has gone by since the last time I did one of these, so let's talk about some of the 3D printing subscriptions that have caught my eye. Hey there, Philip here from Manning the Fort. Over the last year and a half or so, I've printed a lot of miniatures. In fact, my pile of shame is probably bigger now than it ever has been thanks to my little manufactorum. Speaking of, I recently upgraded my printer. Until recently, all of my printing has been done on an Anycubic Photon Mono 4K. When Black Friday sales came around in 2023, I decided to treat myself to a higher resolution printer with a larger build plate, and I ended up settling on an Elegoo Saturn II. So far, I've been very pleased with the results. The space gray Elegoo 8K resin looks and feels a lot like Games Workshop plastic when the model's cured, and that just makes me happy. Now let's start off by revisiting some of my previous recommendations. Specifically, I want to highlight One Page Rules and Mezgeik. I've gone into deeper detail on both of these creators in a previous video, link below, and they hold the distinction of being the only two subscriptions that I haven't missed a month of since that last video in March of 2023. Mezgeik has some great takes on classic miniature wargaming themes, and I made a whole video about how OPR's business model is going to be a big part of the future of the wargaming hobby. A subscription that I revisited since my last video is Loot Studios. In my very first video like this back in the summer of 2022, I said that while the quality of the sculpts is great, there were some things about the user interface and the unsubscribing process that I was not fond of. I have to say, they have made huge strides in both of those departments. I gave them another shot back in December when they had a zombie outbreak theme, since I wanted to get some files together for County Road Z. Their new website acts a lot like my mini factory as far as tracking what you've purchased in the past, and the subscribe and unsubscribe functions are a lot easier to navigate when you want to skip a month. Most of the other subscriptions I've covered in the past, I will resub to for specific themes or minis that I want. I still fully endorse the work of folks like Bestiaire Miniatures, Print Minis, Station Forge, Creature Caster, and Archvillain Games. Now, let's get on to some creators that I haven't featured before but am really enjoying as of early 2024. First up is one that seems to have popped up relatively recently, Eightlegs Miniatures. Before I get into the minis themselves, there does seem to be some sort of drama between Eightlegs and Daka Daka over a previous working relationship. I know next to nothing about that, so I really don't want to get too far into it. What I do want to get into is the quality of the sculpts that Eightlegs is putting out. If you enjoy games like OPR's Grimdark Fantasy, there's a lot here for you. There's a fair bit of faction variety in their offerings, but the ones that drew me in were the Space Orc vehicles. There's some great stuff here. I subbed and printed one of their vehicles despite not even owning an Orc army. They're just that cool. Eightlegs has also been releasing a lot of models every month, so the value for money is certainly there. Orcs aren't the only draw either. They have Power Armored Marines, an Ice Planet themed Grimdark Future Humans, as well as selections from a lot of other factions. Next up, I want to talk about Heroes Infinite. This is a company that I was kind of surprised to see I hadn't included in a previous video. They release large, strongly themed collections each month, and the sculpt quality is fantastic. The themes have a lot of variety too. They've released Grimdark Inquisition agents, space elves, Greek and Norse gods, steampunk, and more. Each month has a selection of heroes, monsters, or vehicles, a huge centerpiece, and a large collection of modular terrain files. This is definitely a month-by-month decision depending on how much you like the theme. Their pre-supported files are among the best I've used, and they distribute in Lychee files as well as STLs, so it's easy to tweak things if you need to. While the sculpt quality, file organization, and pre-supports are all top-notch, there's one thing that keeps me from being as enthusiastic about Heroes Infinite as I am about some of the other creators. And that's the fact that they're clearly in need of a good bonk from time to time. There's a tendency to have a lot of scantily clad and well-endowed female sculpts in their set. Some people are more likely to be into that, but I'd enjoy their product even more if printing it didn't make me think that I was about to be sent to horny jail. Next up on the list is Mammoth Factory. This is a creator that I just recently subbed to, but I plan to keep an eye on them for future releases. Unlike a lot of the previous entries who often mix things up, Mammoth Factory has a distinctly fantasy vibe, and I subscribed after finding some good candidates to print out for my new D&D character. There's a lot of great stuff for your D&D campaign to be had from Mammoth Factory, and their welcome pack is enormous. Beyond that, though, there are great options for one-page rules players out there since Mammoth Factory makes their sets with that game in mind. And there's enough variety in the sculpts and similar types of units that you could pretty easily put them on the table and not have them look too samey. Plus, they make dope dragons, and I love me some dragons. Like I said, this is one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on going forward, but they've already gotten some of my money, and I consider it very well spent. Another relative newcomer to my hard drive is Mini Monster Mayhem. Their January theme is what initially caught my eye. It was based off the work of H.R. Giger, the artist behind the iconic look of the Xenomorphs from the Alien franchise. I was looking for minis to use with 5 parsecs from Home's Bug Hunt and Majestic 13, and these really seem to hit that weirdness button. Looking back at their previous releases, taking a strong theme and applying it to more traditional fantasy monsters seems to be their standard operating procedure, and a lot of this stuff looks great. This is likely another one that I'll choose whether to sub to each month, but so far I'm really happy. Finally, we have what has quickly climbed the ranks to be one of my favorites, and may well join OPR and Mezgeik on the list of creators I'm unlikely to skip a month for: Flesh of Gods. I actually bought some things from Flesh of Gods last year when they had a crowdfunder for Merkbork-themed minis, and as a fan of Forbidden Psalm, that obviously piqued my interest, but as I'd been focusing more on sci-fi games at the time, I didn't really keep up with their releases. That's something that's rapidly changing. As I look towards starting games like 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, Rangers of Shadow Deep, and the Forbidden Psalm expansions, I'll likely be using a lot of resin on Flesh of Gods sculpts. They're highly detailed and have a delightfully dark fantasy vibe. While perhaps not ideal for games that require a more regimented appearance amongst the miniatures, any sort of game that encourages the use of a band of badass fantasy misfits will find what it needs in Flesh of Gods. In fact, it's got me thinking about Mordheim again. I can't say enough about how much these folks have nailed the vibe that I love for my D&D and fantasy gaming. For 2024, they're varying the way they approach themes. Each month will be centered on a traditional D&D class with a diorama centerpiece included in the set. I don't know how many of these I'll ultimately make since my space is limited, but they look beautiful. In addition, they also have a huge welcome pack that is probably enough to populate an entire campaign of 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, or Dungeons & Dragons for that matter. One more thing I want to touch on is which of these creators include files and scales outside of the 25 to 32mm norm. As I was looking for something to represent my D&D character, I started prioritizing companies that could give me a larger scale, a bust, or both. Flesh of Gods does that, as do Mammoth Factory and Loot Studios. So if you're looking for something at larger scale, those are also good places to start. With my new printer up and running and new games on the horizon, I'm hoping we'll have a lot more to discuss as 2024 goes forward. Like I said, I have done a couple of these subscription videos in the past. The one from March 2023 should be on the screen now, and I still stand by those recommendations as well. If you found this helpful, I'd appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribed to the channel to help me grow. Until next time, keep seizing the means of production, and thanks for watching.